Hi there, this is Sarah Kuhn. If you are an INFJ or in a relationship with an INFJ or related to an INFJ in any way, and you want to figure out how they operate, what makes them tick, and how to communicate with them better, this is the show for you. It's called The Quiet Ones. This is a show that deconstructs INFJs, what they are, how they think, how they feel, how they operate, and how they relate to people with other personality types. Whether you have just found out that you're an INFJ or have known for a number of years, there is something for everyone. You will learn more about your personality type so that you understand who you are and understand how you operate in the workplace, in relationships, in your family, and with friends. I want you to walk away from every episode feeling like you have a place of belonging, feeling like you are no longer alone, feeling like you have a place to be heard and seen and understood as you really are. This is a place to connect with other INFJs, to learn and grow and really thrive. I want to give you inspiration and real life strategies that are going to help you figure out how to live your best life every single day. Though INFJs are very rare, you are not alone in this world. You are not the only one who thinks the way that you do and feels the way that you do. Hear from real INFJs just like you. Hey there, Sarah Kuhn here. Welcome to another episode of The Quiet Ones. This is my favorite week of the whole year. That week between Christmas and New Year's where you just get to forget what day it is and you don't really have a whole lot to do and you can just finish up all of the things that have been hanging around since Christmas. There's lots of cleaning going on at my place. I just moved into a new place, but also trying to organize everything and get ready for the new year. It's just an amazing time. I really look forward to it every single year. I've put a lot of emphasis in my life on having vacation around Christmas time because my birthday is just a few days before Christmas, and then to spend the holiday, and then to have New Year's off as well. It's always a big thing for me because I love having the free time, and especially at the end of the year, having the time to reflect on what happened this past year and to think about the new year is extremely important to me. I've always been really big on New Year's resolutions, and so I want to talk a little bit about New Year's resolutions today. And before we get started, I wanted to tell you about a free challenge that I have going on that's going to start actually January 1st. It's an email challenge. So what it is, basically, if you sign up for it, I will send you an email every single day in January that will help you turn your New Year's resolution into a lasting habit. I have all kinds of tips and tricks that I've put together, all of them that I've used in this past year and in years past to really help make those goals that you have become a reality. And so if that's something that you're interested in, please sign up for it. It's completely free. There's a link in the show notes, and you can also find the link on my website, infjwoman.com. So we're going to talk about New Year's resolutions, how to make those resolutions, and then how to keep them as well. I know that you guys have probably heard this story before, but I wanted to talk about it a little bit more and to go into a little bit more detail this time with it. New Year's resolutions have always been really big for me. I always have 6 or 8 things that I want to do, and have always been in that mindset of, okay, let's wait for Monday, or the first of the month, or the first of the year to make those changes. That's not the right mindset to have, and I'm not promoting that at all, but I think that New Year's resolutions have been a lot more meaningful for me because I've had that mentality that, okay, it's a new year, it's time for a fresh start, let's do those things that we really wanted to do. So I've always had 6 or 8 things, it seems like every year, sometimes a lot more than that I want to do, big changes that I really wanted to make. And last year was a really big year for me because it seems like for the past 5 or 6 years, I've had this New Year's resolution of starting a blog. I really felt like I wanted to write. And it was something that just kept coming up and kept coming up and kept coming up. And in my life, when something like that happens, where I ignore it and it just keeps coming back and I ignore it, or I try it and it doesn't work, but then it just still keeps coming back, then I start to pay attention to it after a while and say, okay, maybe this is something that I need to do. Maybe this is something that I really need to take a stronger look at. So when it came to January of last year, I had just started my Instagram account in December, and I really wanted to start writing and to take a bigger look at starting a blog and really following through with it. And I had no idea what it would be or what it would become or what it really even was when I started. I just knew that I wanted to write, and personality types, especially my personality type, was something that I was really interested in because I've only found out that I was an INFJ just a couple of years ago. So I just started writing, and I made this commitment to write a blog post every single week. In the beginning, it was really overwhelming because there really wasn't a whole lot on my blog, and I didn't know what it was or what it would become. For me, I really wanted it to be perfect. I wanted there to be something for people to read from the start, and I knew that one blog post wasn't enough. But at the same time, I knew that if I put too much emphasis on making it perfect, that it would never get done. So instead of saying, okay, it needs to be perfect and I'm not going to put it out there until it's completely amazing, like I really wanted to, instead of doing that, I just said, okay, I'm just going to put it out there. I'm going to write a blog post and put it out there. Even if it's not perfect, even if it's messy, even if somebody writes me and says, okay, that's completely wrong, I'm still going to put it out there and see what happens. I started with the intent to just help one person. I knew that the information that I was writing was information that I needed as an INFJ. It was information that I really hadn't found in other places, and it was things that I was experiencing that made me feel weird and different and strange, and I wanted to put it out there and to let anyone else who was feeling that way know that it was okay to be that way. So I had that goal in mind to just help one person. And I thought, well, even if it's messy, even if it's not perfect, if I can just help one person, then that's enough. That's all that matters. So every single week, I had this goal of writing one blog post. And I said to myself, every single week on Monday, by Monday, I'm going to publish a new blog post. And some weeks I had it done well before Monday, and other weeks it was Monday at 9 o'clock at night, and I'm sitting at my computer going, okay, I have to write something, but I don't know what to write. And the thing that I thought is really interesting, and I still think it's incredibly interesting, is the more that I write, the easier that it gets to write. When I first started, it was really hard to put myself out there. It was really hard to open up, and I really had this desire to write about things that were deep and meaningful and things that I didn't talk about to other people, especially to my family and my friends who aren't my personality type and they don't understand. But those are the things that I really feel like need to be out there. But when you first start writing, it's really, really difficult to share those things. Now, not only is it easier to write, it's also easier to share those types of things, because it seems like every single blog post that I write, there's somebody who messages me. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 or 4 people who say things like, I'm so glad that you wrote that. I completely understand. I've never had somebody who's understood me like that before, and thank you so much for writing that. And it means so much to me. And it's those little things that are actually really big things that help me so much. Because not only does it help all of you guys who are reading my blog, it helps me to know that there's somebody out there who understands me. That's huge. Even if there's just one person who understands, it's huge. But I know that there's a lot more than one person. And I appreciate that as well. I appreciate every single person who reads it, and every single person who messages me and says that it helps them. that just reinforces that what I'm doing is the right thing that I should be doing. And it makes me feel amazing. It makes me feel like this work that I'm doing is my life's work, that it's my purpose and what I was put on this world to do. So let's get back to New Year's resolutions again. I read something not too long ago, and I'm going to paraphrase it because I couldn't find it and I don't really remember where I read it. But basically, the quote is, "The decisions that you make every day change your life. Little by little, they change your life." I've always been one of those people who looks at things from an all or nothing perspective. I want a big change to happen in my life, and I want it to happen really fast, like right now. And if it doesn't happen right now, then I'm convinced that it will never happen. It's really only been recently that I've started to consider this from a different perspective. I always hear people talking about make little changes, do things a little bit at a time, or do things gradually. And I think that's ridiculous. That's not going to work. I don't want to lose a pound every single week for a whole year, even though that adds up to 52 pounds. It still seems like it's just so slow. I want to lose 52 pounds this next week. And I know that's not really possible for most people, at least. But that's kind of just the way that my brain works. Like, if it doesn't all happen right now, then it's never going to happen. So recently, I've started to really think about those small changes because I've seen it with my blog. When I started my blog, I committed to that small change every single week, do something small. And when you think about it, writing one blog post a week is not a whole lot to do. When I first started, maybe it took me a couple of hours, and now it usually only takes me less than that, honestly. Quite a bit less than that sometimes, depending on what it is and how much I've thought about it. But every week I kept up that small change, and all of a sudden it's turned into this big thing. And, when I first started, there were 5 people a month that read my blog. And this past month, there's 55,000 people that have read my blog. I mean, that's a lot. That was exactly what I wanted when I first started. That's probably more than what I ever thought would happen. More people than I thought would read my blog, but that's what I wanted, really. I wanted people to see it. I wanted it to be read and for my voice to be heard. And the funny thing is, too, that it doesn't seem like it's been a whole year since I've started writing, honestly. So to me, that change, even though it was pretty slow because it did, happen over the course of a year, it was really pretty fast. That saying, the days are long, but the years are short? That's really, really true. And the older that you get, the more true that it is. So I've really been trying to embrace this whole little changes thing. The little changes that build up to bigger changes. Another example that I have is when I moved to a different apartment, I was moving all by myself. And I wanted to move every single thing the first day, and I wanted it to all be done. But the thing is, when you're moving a lot of stuff all by yourself, it's very tiring. And I was moving up 3 flights of stairs just to get all of my stuff to my car from the first place. And then the second place was up another flight of stairs. And I'm really not in the best shape, honestly. I have not worked out as much as I used to or should have. And so basically I felt like I was going to die for the whole time. So once I got everything out of my apartment and I got most everything into my new place, but my car was still pretty much full of boxes. I was so tired. I was like, you know what? I can't do it. I can't move one more thing. But I did so much that one day, and then I was able to go back. It was probably like 2 weeks later, actually. Yes, there was a bunch of stuff in my car for 2 weeks. But I was finally able to get all of it out and to move all of it, and it was so much easier to not put that pressure on myself to do all of it in one day, but to do it a little bit more gradually. And it did eventually get done, even though it wasn't all right now, right at this second. And like I said, that was the same thing with my blog. When I first started it, I really wanted it to be this huge website that had a lot of content on there and a lot of information and had a lot of features as well. And I knew that nobody would want to read it if there was only one or two posts on there. But I also got incredibly overwhelmed when I thought about writing 50 posts. I didn't even know what to write 50 posts about. And I knew that I couldn't write that many blog posts in that moment or even in a week. I didn't have it in me to put together all of that content. But I knew that I could do one post. So I decided that that one post was enough. One post a week. And slowly but surely it did build up. And some weeks I was able to do 2 posts. And some weeks I was able to do 3 or 4. But I knew that I had reached my goal as long as I did just one. And I was okay with that. That was enough for me. And now it's something that I'm really proud of. I have this nice website and I feel like there is a lot of content on there. But not just a lot of content, but really good content, which is extremely important when you're talking about building a blog. It's exactly what I wanted. But the point is, if I would have stayed overwhelmed that first day when I first started, if I would have said that I'm either going to do 50 posts today or I'm not going to do any posts, then I wouldn't have gotten to where I am now. I wouldn't have built this whole blog that has turned into this business. It would have just been another one of those New Year's resolutions that I decided to do and then dropped because it was too hard. Okay, so with all of that in mind, I want to talk a little bit about how to make your resolutions and how to keep them. And this is some of the stuff that we're going to go through in the New Year's Resolution Challenge if you sign up for that. And the first thing that we talked about is to make small changes. Just like all the examples that I gave you with my blog, with moving, to do little things, because those little things done consistently will build up into big things a lot faster than what you actually think that they will. Another thing is to make it visible. Make it something that you see every single day. One of the examples for this is to put a chart on the fridge. You're going to the fridge every single day, right? So if you put something there, then you'll be able to see it. Especially if your resolution is something like eating healthy or exercising, whatever it is. It'll help you be able to see it, and you might even be one of those people who likes to check things off a list. I know I like to. I like to make lists just to check things off, or to put gold stars on it. Anything that makes it visible. Another way to make it visible is to make it something that you trip over. When I was going to the gym, I always put all of my gym clothes together in a bag and I set them right next to the door. So that when I was leaving in the morning, I had to move the bag in order to open the door. So that reminded me that, hey, you need to grab this and put it in the car because you're going to the gym tonight after work. Another way to make it visible, if your resolution is to lose weight or to be healthier, is to buy a smaller size of clothes. To buy something that's like a goal outfit. I have way too many of those, but it really does work when you, especially if you hang it like on the outside of your closet door, or if you live by yourself. Sometimes I put them in the kitchen to remind me that you don't need snacks. What you need to do is focus on the goal. Another thing you can do is put it on the lock screen of your phone. I mean, how many times do you look at your phone? I look at mine 1,000 times a day at least. And to have that reminder that many times a day, that's definitely visible for sure. Another thing that you can do to keep your resolution is to make it easy. If your resolution is to eat healthier, one of the big things that I suggest is to buy pre-cut veggies in the grocery store. I know they're more expensive, and sometimes it's ridiculous when you think about how much more expensive, but if buying the pre-cut veggies helps you to eat healthier, if that's the difference between you eating healthier and you not eating healthier, then isn't it worth it to buy them? Along those same lines, you can buy pre-made protein shakes. If you're doing protein shakes with your workouts, or if that's part of your diet, I know that it helped me a lot when I was running. I always thought it's so much more expensive and it's completely ridiculous. But one of the big things that my running coach told me was that you need protein 20 minutes after you finish exercising, at least in that 20-minute window. I went to run in the mornings and it was like a 45-minute drive home. Plus, I was getting up at like 4 o'clock in the morning to go running, so I knew that I was not making my own protein shake before I went running. It just never happened. Even with the best intentions, it never happened. But if I bought the pre-made ones, then I could take it with me in the car and have it on my way home. So that did work out. Something else that you can do that will make it easy is ordering food from one of those subscription services. Again, yes, I know that they're expensive, but if you're planning on sticking to a specific diet, or if your overall goal is just to eat healthier, then that's a great way to do that. It could also help if your goal is just to add more variety into your life or to do something new. A couple of my friends have subscriptions to those food services where they send you all the ingredients to a meal. I don't know how often. I think that you get to pick how often, but then you cook it yourself. And they've given me quite a few recipes. Some of them look pretty good. Okay, so then the last tip that I have for keeping your resolution is to invest in yourself. Now, this one sounds a little bit interesting, quite a bit different from the other ones, but I have a good example for you as well. So I think about it like when you're giving your child a car versus them working for themselves and buying their own car. If you buy something for yourself then you value it a lot more than if someone just gives it to you, right? When I first moved to Boston, I had a rental car and I was driving down the road and I was so amazed at how many potholes there are here. It is ridiculous how many there are. And every time I would hit one, I just kept thinking, I am so glad this is not my car. Now that I have my own car, I'm a lot more careful when I'm driving because I value it a lot more. I know how much it costs. I know how much it costs me and how long that I have to work just to pay for that thing every single month. So I'm a lot more protective of it. And this is the same mentality and the same reaction that we have when we invest in ourselves for other things. When I wanted to start running to get healthier, I was really serious about it when I invested in a running coach. The coach that I paid was $300 a month, so it was a big investment for me, but I took it really seriously because it meant a lot to me and it was costing me a lot as well. A big turning point for my blog was when I bought my website. It was only $100, the plan that I bought, but for me, it was a lot at the time. And I knew that since I had spent some money on it, that I needed to put a little bit more effort into it because it was real for me at that time. So when I say invest in yourself, these are the types of things that I'm thinking about. Whatever your New Year's resolution is, whatever goal that it is that you have, whatever habit that you want to change in your life, make sure that you find a way to invest in it in some way, because that will help you stick to your resolution and it will help you change it into a habit. It'll help you to place more value on it. Okay, so those are a few of the tips that I have for you about making a resolution and keeping them, turning them into lasting habits. There's so much more information in the email challenge that I have going on, so I really encourage you to sign up for it. There's a link in the show notes, and then you can also find it on the front page of my website, infjwoman.com. It's only going to be open until December 31st, though. And then January 1st, I'm going to close it so nobody else can join. So make sure that if you are interested in it, that you do go ahead and join. Okay, so there's one more thing that I wanted to tell you guys about. A lot of people have asked me about starting a blog. A lot of people have asked me about wanting to start writing and not knowing where to start, not knowing how to set up a website, not knowing how to set up your Instagram or how to build a following on Instagram. I've gotten questions about setting up websites, about marketing your blog, how to get people to read it. Basically all different aspects of starting a blog/business and growing it and making it into something that makes money and that becomes your full-time job. Because there are so many people that are interested in it, I've decided to put together a new course, and I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about that now to give you a heads up that this is something that's going to be coming in the next couple of weeks. I'm putting together all of this information in a self-paced course, and because it's brand new, it's going to be in a beta form right now. It's kind of like a trial period just to see exactly how many people are interested and to see exactly what everybody wants from it. So the course is going to cover everything from marketing to mindset around a blog and turning that blog into a business. It's everything that you need to know about starting a blog, learning how to write, getting comfortable writing, building your audience, growing your following on social media, and then making real money, because that's the important part, right? That's something that I searched for a long time. Can you really make money from a blog? Like real money? Enough money to quit your job? Is it really still possible? I'm going to tell you the answer to that right now. The answer is yes. Yes, you can make real money. I'm making quite a bit of money now. In fact, I'm going to be quitting my job very soon because this is exactly what I want to do full time. And now I have the ability to do that, and I'm so super excited about that, which is again why I want to share it with you, because I want you to have that same opportunity as well. I want to show you how to do that. I've made a lot of mistakes this year, and I've learned a lot through those mistakes. And that's another reason that I want to share all of this information with you, so that you don't have to make those mistakes when you're starting this process. I want to give you all of the information that I've learned, so you don't have to do the same thing that I did. You don't have to learn the hard way. You can learn everything the easy way. So I've put together an email sign up for anybody who's interested in the course. I'll be launching it very soon after the new year, so make sure that you sign up. Plus, there's going to be some bonuses for anyone on the email list, a special discount, and a few other things that I haven't quite worked out yet. But you can find the link in the show notes to sign up for it. It's called the Blog to Business course. I also wanted to remind you one more time about my book. My book is called the INFJ User Guide, and it's available right now for pre-sale. If you haven't purchased it, please go ahead and do so. The price is going to go up right after the new year, so make sure that you pre-order it soon. It's still on track to come out in April. It's in the hands of my wonderful editor right now, and we are working on making it fantastic for you guys. I'm so excited for you guys to read it. It's such wonderful information, and my editor is completely fabulous. I adore her, so I can't wait for it to be out and for you guys to read it. All right, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any stories that you would like to share, I would love to hear them and to read them. You can send them to me at podcast@infjwoman.com, or you can send them to me on Facebook or Instagram, which is @infjwoman. I have a bunch of interviews scheduled for next year, so there's going to be a good mix of interviews and stories for the second season of my podcast next year, which will start next week. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe and make sure that you leave a review wherever you listen to the podcast. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you again next week.